Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I just got to check audio captures because I totally forgot to do all that. All right, I think I'm good. Actually, yeah, I can turn my volume up. Welcome to Island Metal Forge and the Impractical Blacksmiths Sunday morning show. Um, how y'all doing? We've got an interesting show today. We're gonna kind of make an announcement, which most of you guys already know, and kind of chit chat and reminisce. But I got a little echo, but I am going to. I've got to check my sound output because I am very, very quiet, aren't I? Give me one shake, everybody. Now that's going to be really loud. Yeah. Now y'all can turn your speakers back down. All righty. Hello, everybody, and welcome. What's up, Jeff, Killian, Transcendental Artist Studios, Curtis at Noble Pursuits Ironworks, Ben Toombs, Bortagov, Grandad's Forge. Yep. I believe I am getting a slight echo from I don't know who.
I think it's from Adam's end.
Could possibly
No, it
be.
wouldn't be because I'm on my headphones. It shouldn't be.
Oddball.
Huh. Yeah, because I heard it before, and I heard it yeah, sure, in the pre-show, but it was yeah, I don't know.
Stephen Parsons. Hey guys, quick question. I want to make a cannon mortar. What would be a good material to do it with? My guess would be metal.
Cannon.
A cannon and a mortar,
Okay,
while
so
similar, are
cannons
kind of
more,
two different things.
yeah, but traditionally, okay, so before they were made from cast iron, they were actually made from bronze.
Yeah.
So you can cast them from bronze. Of course, they are heavy pains in the ass, but and getting you'll have to do a lot of research into cannon or mortar bronze because, of course,
Something a bit
as we went
stronger.
through, yeah, when we way back in the day, and this kind of ties into the whole theme of the episode. Way back in the day when we did metals and stuff like that, we were talking about bronze and brass and all that type of thing. You know, like bell brass is an individual uh, recipe for that specific type of metal because it gives it the acoustic ability, just like the type of brass they use for cymbals and gongs and all that type of thing, all slightly different mixtures because it gives them the resonance and the strengths or whatnot that they need for those particular applications. The same applies to the bronze used for cannons. It would likely be written somewhere. Off the top of my head, I couldn't think of where. You might want to look into military manuals or military instructions for various countries, probably starting with China and some of the European countries, even to a certain degree, later period Rome. But yeah, like I said, China, any European countries that use bronze cannons because most did use bronze cannons at some stage. It basically just became too expensive. And there's a couple of shipwrecks that have actually been discovered with bronze cannons still. But yeah, so bronze would be the easiest of it. Other than that, cast iron, and trying to cast iron is a pain in the ass.
Well, it also
I actually made a cannon once. So I have a little bit of experience with this. I took a piece of a drill collar, which is the heaviest, thickest pipe we had in the oil field, and it had an 1.5-inch wall thickness with a 1-inch bore. And so I took a piece of 1-inch plate and I cut it at a 45-degree angle, and I cut the pipe at a 45-degree angle, and I did pass after pass after pass. Do a pass, grind it down, do a pass, and I welded that plate onto the back side of it. And I mean, the finished weld was like that freaking wide. It took me forever. I don't know how many rods I burned, and I thought this is going to hold. I drilled a 1/8-inch hole about an inch up from there, so I could put a fuse in it. And then I had no idea how much powder to use or anything like that, and I was just guessing. I cast a wax ball, and I had some that I cast out of lead, but the first one I was going to shoot was going to be wax. So it was just something to create some back pressure on the cannon. And so I put in 3/4 cup of Pyrodex, which in hindsight was a bit much. And then I packed away. I even built I even made a tamping rod so I could pack it and everything. So I poured the powder in there, packed it in there, slid the wax ball in there, packed it in, and I had a massive fuse on this thing. I lit it and I went and hid, and I mean, when it went off, it was a big boom that echoed through the canyon. It was pretty awesome. And then when I went over there to where the cannon was laying in the ground where I was doing the test fire, it had blown that welded on plate off, and it had expanded the chambering section by about a 1/2 inch. I mean, it just belled it right out. And that was made out of, I guess, it would have been mild steel because it's often welded and whatnot, so it's not a high carbon. But I don't know if the steel was too soft or if there was just too much oomph in there. But either way, while it was nice and loud, I didn't know what I was doing, and luckily I was out in the middle of nowhere, so I didn't hurt me or anybody else.
Yeah, I will say this. He did say cannon mortar. So if he's looking at a mortar, and you probably correct me on this, Alexis. In my understanding, a cannon uses explosive force to launch a projectile, whereas a mortar tube is a guide for a no.
No. Okay, so
Okay.
historically, you're looking at that's the modern definition in that sense. But in older, like historically speaking, mortars and cannons weren't really that different.
Okay.
A
Okay.
cannon, where a cannon was generally designed to shoot in a regular in a fairly direct line, whilst there is some, of course, parabolic arc, right? Whereas a mortar is designed to shoot up and over something.
Okay. Okay.
That's
So,
what I was
for
going to say. The
example,
only difference I
mortar,
know of is one shoots horizontal and one kind of shoots vertical. So obviously with a little bit
so
of
a mortar, for example,
variance in that.
Yeah, I
a
didn't
mortar,
think of the old
mortar
old school like cannon mortars, which is actually what Stephen wrote. So yeah, okay. Do they got shorter barrels?
they generally, yes, they can. Again, because depending on the use for it. So some of the early ones, like some of the early mortars, were like they basically look like cauldrons with really thick walls. But again, they were designed to shoot over fortifications, castle walls, all that type of thing, and to literally put something up in the air, come down, and explode or cause damage on the other side. Whereas a cannon is kind of designed for distance. So if you think of kind of like a pistol versus a rifle, a pistol is good for short range or relatively short range, whereas a rifle is longer for distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of idea. You don't need distance, particularly when it's pointing up. You don't need distance so much for height.
Yeah, Steven's asking. He says, "So using black iron pipe probably not a good idea." Um, Probably not. I mean, I think it really the material goes down to how much force you're going to be putting into it. Like Alexis had said that mild steel tube with the 1.5 inch thick walls would probably be fine for a smaller shot, a smaller load of gunpowder. Um, I think for
So
something thin wall cast iron pipe would probably be much smaller load.
so once upon a time, and of course, okay. So I'm going to tell this story in person because that way, because doing this type of thing is highly illegal in Australia. So once upon a time, I know someone that may have may also made a small cannon out of drill rods for mining. So drill rods, they're generally probably about 3 inches in diameter. They have about a 1 inch hole in the center, about an inch and a half of high carbon steel for the actual rod themselves. Um, and of course, if anyone's ever seen a hard rock drill bit, they screw on the bottom. They do have holes in them for the pneumatics to blow out stuff. Those pneumatics were plugged, except for one, which is where the fuse went. And they used a hell of a lot less black powder than Alexis used in the experiment. Um, and it was welded up and made into a makeshift cannon, and that thing worked really well. It was aimed at a gun. It had a solid lead fishing lure as the ammunition, and it was aimed at a tree that was probably about a foot thick, and it went the iron sinker, the lead sinker, sorry, went through the tree, and
Yeah.
it was lost forever. So I think it maybe had like a shotgun shell full of no, probably a bit more, maybe two shotgun shells full of and all that type of thing. And yeah, it put that lead shot through the tree, and so that attempt at a cannon that person made was quickly dismantled and scattered around and not no longer in one piece, because yeah, the boom was very, even though that person lived very rural. There was a high amount of paranoia that, if someone heard that, it would have been investigated quite thoroughly. So yeah. um, so it is possible doing from recycled materials. On that same note, like I said, Canon brass is a unique recipe. You should be you may be able to find it in some historical documents. But when it comes to materials, so with Alexis's experiment, I'm not surprised that they expanded the barrel and all that type of thing, considering the sheer amount of black powder that they used. That was massive overkill. If you decide to do something like that, and of course, I don't recommend it because it's not safe, and we don't recommend that type of reckless behavior on this channel. However, if someone were to theoretically attempt that type of thing, start small and work your way up when it comes to um, uh, mixtures and stuff like that. Think about it. Who was it? Was it Jared from Veteran Ironworks that made his
Doing
own
the
black
rifle barrels.
Yeah. But they ended up making a black powder pistol. It's the same sort of thing. Start small and work your way up. Because blowing barrels historically did happen to cannons as well.
And
The
cannoneers.
very famous. It's not Humpty Dumpty, because Humpty Dumpty was literally was knocked off the So for those of you who don't know, Humpty Dumpty, the Humpty Dumpty sat in the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, that type of thing. That was actually about a mortar cannon. Humpty Dumpty was a mortar cannon in England, sat on top of a fortification, and was knocked from. I think they were doing something either during a renovation or something like that. Either was knocked, or during a siege, it was actually knocked off the reinforcement, the wall, and so the all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Was actually their attempt to put that mortar cannon back on the stockade or the wall or whatever it was that actually fell from. But there are historical examples of overcharging the mortars or the cannons and blowing the barrels on them as well. So, yeah, like I said, if don't recommend it to anyone, but if anyone decided to actually do that type of thing, start small, work up.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
Steven, wish we could give you some more information, But yeah, I've never made a mortar. I've never made a cannon.
Really
all
fun.
I can go is on suppositions.
Now that we spent an hour on that, that's our show, folks.
Yeah. So normally at the beginning of the show we would do how was your 2 weeks? But I got a better question. How was your last 5 years? So the announcement would be if you weren't here last week, this will be our last show, our last Sunday morning show. We are going to be taking a break and coming back as a reshuffle once Adam and Alexis get the shop down in Australia set up and with all the widgets, bells, and whistles for being able to stream from that shop, so that the Impractical Blacksmiths show will be the two of them forging with guests, and me up in the corner cracking jokes and basically being the producer,
talking mad smack about our hammer form,
reading the comments for you guys, all sorts of things, just kind of a thing. And that will be more towards a Sunday evening show here in the States, so that they can not stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning to record. Because Adam is sitting outside and is in dangerous territory for getting attacked by some sort of wild, ravenous wallaby. So, gotta look out for safety.
Yeah. So how's my 5 years been? Boy, has it been a roller coaster. It's me and Adam were talking about this earlier. We're talking about how we remember this show starting, and it's almost like this Mandela effect thing. It's like, no, we started the show when. No, wait, when? And then we're looking online at past shows. It's like, no, this can't be right. I remember starting before this, and and when we did a little bit of math and whatever, and it's like we're right around in the neighborhood of 230 shows since we started doing this. Well, maybe not all together, but since this little adventure started, and then we all kind of came on in sequence. 230-ish shows are, and man, I mean, just the path that we went through to get where we are now. Starting with like, hey, how about we start doing segments? Like show segments. Like let's do a medal of the week. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys remember asking me about my isotopes. Where I went through. I swear I went through damn near every element on the periodic table.
Yeah.
At some point in time, I know I covered all and some that weren't.
All the metallics for sure.
I had good. Yeah, I mean, I had good fun doing a lot of research, and I learned so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it froze. Yep. Something froze. I don't. Probably my internet. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but yeah, my Discord froze. Let's see how this goes. So let's see what happens. You guys back? I hear
I'm
Adam.
back. Yep.
I don't know if
Can you
y'all's
hear me?
internet froze or if it was mine.
200 shows in the bag. And we come up to this year.
Yeah.
Yep. No, we've lost internet. It's us.
It's you guys. Go let Alexis know. I don't know if she's still talking.
You're still talking. I can hear her.
Go throw something at the window. Let her know because it's frozen. Anyway, I'll talk.
Yeah, because I'm outside. Because I'm outside, it's actually connected via my
yeah. Watch
my
this, guys.
regular my phone.
This is
Alexis.
gonna be wild.
My internet went
About halfway through the talking about 200 hours.
Yeah.
You want to come over and join me? Oh, the technical issues, isn't it fun?
Oh, I know.
See,
Like-
I have started to notice the last couple of months around 2 o'clock in the morning, or a little bit earlier, the internet seems to go down here. I'm not sure why, but I mean, but that also ties into what Yamas was saying earlier about the whole we can change up times when we come back, with the during the day the internet very rarely goes down, and I've got some plans to do some stuff with my Wi-Fi and all that type of thing, so we'll be able to stream at I wouldn't say a more reasonable, but a reasonable time for us, which will still be a reasonable time in the US. So, for example, Eastern time, if we start forging at say 8 o'clock in the morning, it is generally around 5-6 o'clock p.m. Eastern in the US. So you'll be able to have your day on Sunday and whatnot, and come home and maybe view some blacksmithing content. Or we might change up the days. Maybe we'll do it Sunday morning, so it's a Saturday evening for you guys, or that type of thing. And that way, we can do have a little bit of a change up. So, but that's. We'll get to that in a minute. Alexis is coming over.
Yeah,
we'll
get to some details of the changes.
Yeah, that way we we can continue. She can continue what she was saying. Hang on, do you want? I'll give you this so that way,
All right, I'm fixing the setup.
Oops, hang on. I've just lost my. What's going on here? There we go. Sorry, it just changed out of my headphones. Just a moment. Let me put it back.
Can you talk for a second, Yamis?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm just resizing you guys. So yeah,
Sure.
that's a bit better, all things considered. All right. Excuse me. Yes. Yeah. One other big change that I want to make sure everybody knows as well is due to the technical side of things, we will probably shift the show over to Speargrass Forge channel, so that all the controls and the proper the right camera feed is taken care of in Australia, rather than through Discord, where there's grainy picture and whatnot, and artifacting and potential So if somebody goes out, it'll be me, and I'm just a little head in the corner.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway,
No,
continue what you're saying about it.
yes.
So where I left off was, there was 200 episodes, give or take, of solidly formatted shows, and then at the beginning of this year, we're just like didn't have any idea kind of what direction to go. That's why we went for the whole let's just have a talk show and just talk amongst ourselves and you interact with the community on the chat, and kind of harkens back to like what the show originally started as. It's just a conversation with the community,
Yeah.
like we were looking through the old videos this evening. It's like you started out the show with meet the community, and it's like, hey, somebody come on here and let's meet everybody, which was really cool, and that's how we all kind of got together and got started in this. And
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's also been a lot of work, and it's not so bad to just sit down and have a chat about nothing in plan, but actually trying to do something with structure and to an extent scripted. Um, it takes a lot out of you when you got to do it week in, week out, and I think it's going to be a lot easier, especially for us, when we're forging and whatever, because it's like, all right, what are it's not that hard to the day before be like, what are we gonna make? Let's make a pair of tongs, or let's make some chisels, or whatever, and we can just sit there and just be heating and beating while we're chit chatting amongst ourselves and the crowd. So the next iteration of the show, I'm really looking forward to, and I think it's going to be a good time, and it's going to bring a new dynamic to Practical Blacksmiths.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're going to have a much needed wall thing set up and organized and optimized for the best thing possible, and not have as many technical difficulties with outages
Yeah.
and well, we're going to go live, and then it's nothing but a frozen screen for half of the show, and then you do 2 hours, and then by the time it gets uploaded, you got a 15-minute show.
Yeah.
And I mean, in support of that, like Alexis was saying, like having a chat show is great, and a lot of people don't realize, when we have had structured shows that started off as a chat show and meet the community and all that type of thing, but evolution has to happen, because that can only happen for so long, and then you've got to change directions and keep it fresh. Otherwise, it kind of gets boring. Not not for us, but for people watching. So and that's why, back in the day we moved into the metal of the week, and asking Alexis about her isotopes, and then we moved into the history of blacksmithing. They've been blacksmithing through the ages, and then the countries that blacksmithed, and blacksmithing tools and all that type of thing. And so we've covered a lot of stuff, and we come back to this chat type, talking heads type show, not because partially because you get to a point where you start, and even if you look at TV series and all that type of thing, you get to the point where you start going over storylines again, and we did return to that, to the starting point. But a lot of people don't realize just how much effort goes into this as well, because you sit down even once a fortnight and go, okay, what are we going to talk about this week?
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
see where we're going.
Yeah.
So it's still a lot of work, even just doing a talking head show. But I mean, on that note, in the last 5 years, yep, we've had over 230 episodes, over 250 hours of content. There's also been a lot of changes.
Yeah. Most
Go
TV
ahead,
shows don't get
Robert.
that length.
Exactly, and Alexis actually pointed that out earlier tonight. And most TV shows don't get that sort of length. We don't get paid for this. This is a purely passion. But like for me personally, in that 5 years, I've also, I've moved, I've built my house, I've uh, gotten married, and established this wonderful place that I call home, where Alexis now calls home too. Um, building my workshop is in the process of being done. Some updates on that, for example, we've got the trench dug for the electrical down there at the moment. I've got a guy coming next week. Excuse me, I've got a guy coming next week to quote the cost for running for buying the 3-phase cable to run the 70 meters from the box to the actual to outside the workshop. And then from there, we've got in the next couple of weeks as well. We've got I'm getting all my shipping containers moved down there to go beside the workshop in order to expand the roofing space that we've got, so we can isolate certain areas of different workshops. So, for example, we'll have a woodworking or finishing area that's separate to the actual forging area, so things don't catch fire. One of the shipping containers is actually going to be turned into an office slash media center type thing. So we've got a space down there that not only all the the Wi-Fi and everything can run through, so that we can go. It's all there in one space to do editing and all that type of thing. Um, Also, I've got a plumber that is going to, we can put an ablutions block down there. So we've got a shower, a toilet, and all that type of thing down there as well, to turn that area into kind of a what those of that have been to Quad State, or those that know of the old Quad Squad, kind of like a John Coffey's area where you can come and camp, and you could have hammer-ins and all that type of thing, because I'd love to have a space for when people come, if people decide to come to Australia and come see me and see Alexis, and come and spend some time forging. They've got a space away from my living space that we can just go hang out, make lots of noise, be absolute maniacs without disturbing, everyone around, but also, having that space of, I've got plans, and I've actually had, I've got an application that I've got to submit once the workshop's done. That I've got, we've talked about this a while back, for teaching, troubled youth, for blacksmithing and that type of thing as well. So turning it was, I've discussed it with Alexis, and actually part of the plan of the workshop is we're actually going to have 3 different forges. So we're going to have a dirt box forge, a more like a brake rotor forge type thing, and then an actual fully bricked or stoned proper you know proper forge at the back, as well as gas forge and all that type of thing, so that people can see and work on this is what you can do if you have absolute basics, and work through the different levels and commitments to blacksmithing as well. So it's not it's my plan, my dream is not just a workshop for us or me. It's a learning center. It is a it's living history. It's and the media, the Speargrass Forge and the media side of things as well. Community, a blacksmithing community meeting place, a place that we can use to experiment. I mean, and other blacksmiths around the world do similar type of things. I mean, Alex at Valhalla Ironworks has been doing the whole making his own iron at the moment, and that's been done before as well. But having a space where not only I can do that, but someone else can come and go, hey, can we use this space to try this? Yeah, why not? Let's go. Let's give it a crack. Because I have the space on my property to be able to do that, and I have the ability to accommodate that sort of thing, provided we get rid of the cabin grass. And so like I said, the from a lot of people the here do may have seen me from the start of my journey. But the reason why I started YouTube, and the reason why I started on documenting how I'm going as a blacksmith, relearning and restarting, was because when I first started, I couldn't find any Australian YouTubing blacksmiths. And then of course, since then I found Sam Towns and Laughing Fish Forge and Valhalla Ironworks, and there's a few of us around. But when I first started, I wasn't able to find any. So I was kind of like, well, if I can't find, I'll do. And so I started that thing. And of course, looking back and again looking at the videos all the way from the start, it's realizing, not only did I have glorious long hair, but that was pre uh, annotated practical blacksmithing as well. That was before I started the books, before I started writing for the community. I'm still working on my current book. It's in the editing stage. I'm in the final slog of it, and this is the hardest bit. It's narrowing it down to a printable level, making sure the language and minimal spelling mistakes and all that type of thing in it, making sure the formatting and the layout works. Now, and I've actually had to stall. I've stalled a little bit at the moment. I haven't been able to do any work on it in this last couple of weeks. Of course, I only got back from being overseas last week, and then this week I actually have my niece staying with me. So that's the reason why I'm not in my office, because she is actually camped out in my office at the moment. So I can't use my computer or anything like that, because she's that's where her bed is and all that type of thing while she's staying with me. So it's life happens in the middle of everything else. So it's fortuitous, but like I said, there is actual progress going on down where the workshop is, and I don't want this break so much that I don't want this break to take too long, for two reasons. One, I want to get into doing stuff, production forging, teaching, getting back in touch with the community and doing more active things. And again, this is something that Alexis and I were discussing previously. Like when Yamas took over the Sunday morning gathering originally from Tim, and
Who is in the chat now, by the way? Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tim. But when he took over and Tim took the hiatus for work and health issues, it was. I remember back then there was a blacksmithing live stream every day. There wasn't a day or an evening time or a morning for me where there wasn't a live stream. And now so scheduling something in to get done was a very big challenge back then. And now, a lot of those channels have gone by the wayside, stopped producing, whatnot. I mean, of those, the ones I really know of that are still going, of course, are our good friend Roy, Christ and Ironworks. The Black Bear Forge, he's still doing the same thing. Us, and of course you've got Bar Run Forge that have had picked up some of that mantle and continued as well. And so that plethora of blacksmithing content that we used to have has kind of reduced. As we all know, it goes through ups and downs and mountain peaks and valleys. And so again, I want to get back to making that sort of content for the community, because it's an opportunity for us as well to get back to learning from each other. This is still very much a major passion for me, and for those of us that have done this for a long time and stuff, we've seen people come in and come out. This isn't just for me, at least, it isn't just a passion thing. It is being a blacksmith is part of my identity. It is. I don't say I'm an office. I work in an office week on, week off. I don't say I'm an office worker. Well, when people ask me what I do for a living, I'm a blacksmith. Sure, I don't make a lot of money from it, and I don't make, I'm not paying my bills with it so much, but that's what makes my life worth living. So therefore, I do blacksmithing for a living. Um, and so again, I want to get back to doing that and continuing, to contribute to the community and all that type of thing. But yeah, so that's pretty much the update, from that side of things, and kind of how my 5 years has been. It's been a wonderful, interesting, ride. I've made some great friends, some of which are now, are here with me, which is, if you had asked me 5 years ago, would I ever envision, someone coming from the US to be here and see me? It was like, I mean, 2020, just prior to me joining the show, I was planning on coming and doing a tour of the US and meeting a whole heap of people, and unfortunately COVID. But you know, I would have turned around and said, "Is anyone ever going to come and see me?" Hell no. A one bloke on the other side of the planet that you got, that it's going to cost $10,000 plus to come and visit. No, no one's ever going to do that. It was more. It was more economical for me to come and meet all you, and now I've got Alexis here. And helping me out, and being a wonderful assistant and friend, that is here as well. So that's the way life shifts and changes in unique, unexpected, and amazing ways, is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your turn.
Well, I mean, going back to the root of everything, I had originally started this channel. I had originally started doing live streams on Facebook, strictly as a, hey, I didn't know that there were other blacksmiths out there. Like, I didn't even know that it was a thing back then. And I had started it with the intent of like going live so that like my out of state family could check in to see what I'm doing, and a way to keep connected with them, and well, as time went on in those early days, in those early months and year, they didn't care. So like, I found people on Facebook were like, "Oh, you should do YouTube lives, or you should," because I was just live streaming back then, and I think I was doing like the maximum allowed, like 4-hour streams on Facebook, like every Saturday at noon to 4. I would be live in the shop, just tinkering and doing whatever the heck I was doing. And yeah, a handful of you have been here since the beginning. And thank you for that. And then I switched over to doing YouTube live streams, and I was doing like 6 hours. It allowed me to upgrade it to 6 hours, and I was doing 6 hours on Saturday and 6 hours on Sunday. And then that I did that for like 6 months, and I'm like, screw this, and I switched it back, pulled it back to just like an hour on Saturday, and then those times shifted around, and it's like, and then it was Rusty Hubcap Forge that hit me up. I was playing with twists one day, so you should really do a tutorial video on how you do these. And I'm like, oh, it's easy. And I showed it, and it's like, no, but a short form that I can go and reference later. And that started the Twisted Tutorials series playlist, and which kind of got me used to editing, and then I just started doing videos and all of that. And it's like, and then got into the community with everybody, and started doing Quad State and meeting people, and when Tim had alluded that he was going to be taking a break from doing the Sunday morning lives, he was looking for kind of a replacement, or somebody to take over. I threw my hat in the ring, and it's like, yeah, we'll I'll take over for you, and I did. And it originally started, I tried to like emulate Tim, like just sitting there chatting with the chat, I didn't have nearly the numbers that Tim did, so it was pretty much just like us sitting around. And then it's like, I'm like, I've got Discord, and me and Rob from um, Sharp Bend Forge started up the Forge chat here on Discord, and setting that up so that I could have guests on the show, and like the whole, like you guys said, the meet the community thing, and that kind of, people would pop in here and there, and we do like little interviews, and then you guys kind of became co-hosts. I think it was Alexis, you became a co-host first, and then we had Adam on, so we had Clara on, we had Sam on, we had Roy on, like whoever wanted to pop on and chit chat could. And that was a fun format for a while.
I was just I think apart from Roy, our most famous guest was what's that name of that Mexican smith?
Ed Soul.
Ed Soul, yeah,
yeah, had Ed Soul on. Yeah, and yeah, we switched our format and switched to a three person talk show, coming up with topics to discuss, and always maintained that community aspect where if somebody wanted to hop in and chat, they could. It's never been my show. I've never viewed it solely.
It's always been
as, yeah, it's been our show. So yeah, and over the years, it's like we've had a lot of fun iterations of our show, coming up with the Impractical Blacksmiths moniker, and discussing ideas for that. We dabbled in, throwing it up as a podcast.
Speaking of the Impractical Blacksmith, including the spelling mistake for how long?
Yeah.
I wonder how many people have actually noticed that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's switched different iterations of the show. We like the Metal of the Week, the How Was Your Week, the occasional forging during it, then the Elements of the Week, the Metal of the Week turned into Elements of the Week. A whole lot of fun memories with the ask me about my isotopes. And all the joy coming from that, the jokes and the fun, the stories we've learned about each other, and the viewers and everybody, popping in. It's been a blast. And then that entire year of studying the history of metallurgy throughout the ages of humanity I still, and because of that year, I am still extremely interested in the evolution of us as a species. Like it's. And quick shout out, I know it has nothing to do with blacksmithing whatsoever, but quick shout out to a channel much, 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 much bigger than mine. Lindsay Nicole, she's got a channel. She's like an evolutionary biologist, and she's got a show where she goes, over the history of the earth, and from like the how life evolved on the planet. And she just today started the History of Us series, which is a deep dive into hominids. So thanks to our year of studying metallurgy through the ages, I have developed an interest in, like watching evolutionary biology channels and stuff. So, and I'm really looking forward to her series.
To add to that, I also want to acknowledge the how we've been there for each other, and you guys in the community too, and you guys in the chat, through some really tough times as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, my father's cancer diagnosis, and I'm not going to mention other people's things, but we've lost people in the community and all that
Mm-hmm.
type of thing as well. So I just want to acknowledge, that this show has been not important, not just for and for me, not just for the happy times and the awesome memories, mayonnaisium and talking about um, uh, uh, all the Stargate Atlantis references and you and your fucking Atlantis theories and
They're not
getting my
theories.
aliens and aliens and all that type of shit and getting my veins to pop and like all the fun times, but also the serious times. You recognizing and keeping people in their thoughts and being there for each other has also been very important. A very um, pertinent aspect of this show and this community. And that's something again that when we come back it will be continued. But I just wanted to point that out as well. It's been fun. It's been great. It's also, in my opinion, been very important.
Yeah.
Yamas, continue.
Yeah. No, it's just over the years, the people that have been here and left, have come back, have dipped in to say hi or to be, even if a small part of all of us, what we do here. What's up, Thomas? It's like, yeah, that's a good example. It's like we watched Roy take on, grow his business to the point where he needed to take on an apprentice, take on Thomas, who's become an integral part of his channel, So it's like, not only have we grown over the years, we've watched all of you guys grow over the years, like smaller channels like Roy, at Christ-Centered Ironworks.
That was actually something. So we were watching a very early episode as well, and seeing one of Bill Corey's very first candelabras. It was a
Yeah.
three. It was a three scroll candelabra, and absolutely gorgeous. And talking about welding or hot fitting the collars and stuff like that. It was like an episode where people sent in what they were working on. It was an amazing piece. And watching that develop into that absolute monstrosity that was at the
Yeah.
Stadium.
That was not the
John, yes.
John. John.
Bill Corey was
Not Bill Corey. John Brunel.
Yeah. John Brunel
Yeah.
candelabra. No, because John Brunel was sending the candelabra in, and Bill Corey had a hammer that was in the same, like it was in the same lot of photos we were talking about. That's what that. So I just got it switched up. But yeah, it was Bill Corey's hammer and John Brunel's candelabra, and that was 5 years ago. It was like watching that evolution as well from that first piece to this fucking monstrosity.
Yeah, and that kind of.
For the last 8 years or so, we've been doing this show for Quad States Day. Everybody else is over there having time. I saw Kevin's post on Facebook. They did the metal parade yesterday, and I seen. I swear to God, every single picture I've seen from Quad State has got somebody in it that I know. I mean, like everyone.
Except for that photo that you showed me that you went, I recognize that face and I don't know who it is. And I went, that's Jack.
And I was like, no, that's not Jack. Jack's got white hair. No. I don't know why I thought
Yeah.
that. Anyways, I saw Shane up in there. I saw Jack. John Brunel, saw him digging through Roy's goods over there on a post that Roy made. And, it's just like, this is the first one I've missed in 8 years. And it's just like, man, it really does feel wrong not being at Quad State right.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I'm not missing it so bad that I'm willing to risk traveling back to the United States. But it sucks not being there. But I hope everybody that is there is having an excellent time, and I hope the weather is a damn sight better than it was last year. Camping in a hurricane sucks. Camping in a hurricane sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it wrong. I don't think anybody wants to ever have to do that, but yeah, it is what it is. Wake up in the morning and the tent is all blown down on top of you, and you got to like stand up and lift it up to get all the water off of it. Yeah, good time.
Yeah, man, it's been a lifetime of memories that has this show and this channel has really it is a huge portion of my life, you know. I remember us all getting our logos tattooed from Josh Brown, you know. Horrible
Yep.
angle for sharing it, but yeah, there we go. But yeah, like we all got branded at one quad state, and it's like you know, just that memory alone is wild. It's like you go to a blacksmithing convention where everybody's dirty, sweaty, covered in grime, and then somebody busts out a tattoo gun and says, I'm a dust everybody up out here in the freaking field. And we just, okay. Like, of course it's a good idea to get a tattoo in the middle of a field while you're blacksmithing. Oh, I love it.
For me.
Yeah. Oh, it turned out great for me too. I love this tattoo. I've had people ask, like where I got it, you know, like locally here. Like it's like, oh no, I had somebody from Georgia tattooed me in Ohio. Like, you know, and one guy even asked if he minded if if he had gotten it as well, or if he had, you know, he took a picture of it and said he was going to get it on his calf. I'm like, go for it. I'll be on your leg. But but yeah, it's been a wild, huh?
So I'll be on your leg like a chihuahua in heat.
Right? It's been a wild time, and as I understand it, Tim is back to Sunday mornings. I'm going to assume he's going to be every Sunday morning. I thought it was going to be 10 a.m. for some reason, but I popped in at around 10, and he was just closing down. So I think he's 9 a.m. Eastern, whatever that is, your local time. So yeah, Tim is back for, you know, Blacksmiths Church with Big Dog, and we are stepping down. I guess perfect timing, you know. I told Tim in the beginning that, you know, yeah, like anytime you wanted it back, you know, hit me up and we can do the shift back again, you know. I had only in my head only had meant to be a placeholder until Tim came back. And we ran for 5 years, and now Tim's back. So I guess it all works out. Um, Tim says, one of my best memories of what state was walking through the crowd of Quad State was walking through the crowd in the sales area and being stopped by an individual who recognized Yamez and watching his face. Yeah, that I remember that. Like I'm that was so funny, Tim. We're walking through and some dude runs up to us and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm walking with Big Dog Forge. Of course, there's going to be another person saying, "Hey, it's Tim," and it was somebody who didn't watch Tim, didn't know who Tim was, but knew me, and I'm like, let me introduce you to my buddy Tim. Oh,
Yep.
it was great. Yeah, a lot of memories through all this. You know,
Yeah.
and
And continue.
it's something I wouldn't change. It's something that I wouldn't, you know, like as it stands, I'm not you know, even through my mistakes, I'm not somebody to regret things that happened in my life, because everything that happened in my life guides me to who I am today, and who I am today is somebody that I like. But you know, I wouldn't trade the last, you know, 5 years of doing this morning show for anything, you know. Would I have liked to have had significantly more people in the morning shows on Sundays than we historically have had? Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is.
But on that note, we've I mean, just between us three, right? And like, but extended to the chat, right? When we started, we were just people that talk to each other. Okay, so you and Alexis were people that have actually met and knew each other from Quad State and Quad Squad and all that type of thing. but I was just a face on the other side of the planet. I was a talking head that was part of the community but didn't know. And over the last 5 years, I can honestly say you guys have become some of my best friends. Not my only best friends, but you guys are some of my best friends, and I know that we've talked about some deep topics, and I know Yama's, I've talked to you in some dark times both ways, and
Yep.
and we've assisted each other, and I mean Alexis is here now, so I've Alexis is in my home, sharing my space. That's how much I love and trust you guys. And then you've got Bill Corey, John Brunell, Jack Pines,
That
Thomas,
that little guy with the weird arm. Oh yeah, Ben
exactly.
Toombs. No,
Uh,
I love
building
you,
building
Ben.
friendship with Roy, building a friendship with Roy, and all you other guys and girls in the chat. That even our lurkers. You the guys have gotten to know us, and I was just thinking before about how even learning, because I say all the time I'm a technological Cro-Magnon man. I don't know technology, and I have a really easy way of destroying it. So, but even doing this, we don't. I'm watching some of the old shows and the amount of dead space that we have when we were talking and all that type of thing, where things would just sit silent for like 30 seconds. That doesn't happen anymore. We kind of, make sure we pick up, and, sometimes we might talk over each other a little bit, but we pick up and get going, and that's the whole running joke that, the show's over by the time I finish my hours, you'll leave.
Yeah, yeah,
There is somebody that can carry the whole damn show if he needs to here.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't
Well, for as much as I
just
like
making
to
it work.
talk, like in a setting like this, it's like, all right, like now what do I say? Yeah, somebody else pop up, and that's the I hate dead air in my head.
Exactly. And so, but like I said, that we've built some solid friendships.
Yeah, I remember when I first started editing the live shows to upload to the podcast, right? I'm like, well, okay, the first thing I need to do is remove all of the dead air, whether that's a 3 second pause here or whatever, so it flows through. And like, and then I'm going to remove all of the ums and those placeholder sounds that you make in the here and there when you're trying to think of something. I was like, I'm going to remove all those, and like I literally spent like 3.5 hours editing the first episode like that. Went together smooth, and I mean, like, and it sounded good. And then when I got done, I was like, I ain't doing that again. The pauses can stay. Don't care. That
Yeah,
is way too much work. After that, all I did was just, okay, let's go in here, and if there's I'll edit out any place where we're digitized, and we'll just clip here, clip there, clip here. All right, we're good. Upload it. Send it,
yeah,
bud. Send it.
yeah. No, I feel your pain in a recent project that I've taken on over the past year, editing podcasts, and yeah, like removing the silences and ums. It's time consuming. Like it takes up the majority of my weekends is editing podcasts. Um, so no, I'm like,
You
good
should have
on
got
you,
him onto
good
it
effort.
earlier.
What was that?
You should have got you onto the editing podcast earlier.
Really, it really, it's it's wild, you know. Tim, I did pin your message saying I will be live Sundays at 6 a.m. Pacific or 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes. So.
And just to reiterate, when we come back, and it's not an if, it's a when. When we come back, will still be the Impractical Blacksmiths. Again, it will be on my channel. It'll be on Speargrass Forge. If you're not subscribed, go and subscribe to it. Simply so that when we start going live again, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to get access to that. And it will be still the Impractical Blacksmiths, still the same sort of, it's the same, basically the same show, different channel. And it's a different bat time, different bat channel, but same bat show. But yeah, it'll be, we'll be doing forging, making stuff, chatting, taking on projects. I mean, of course, Alexis and I are part of there's a select Instagram group where there's a weekly blacksmith challenge or a monthly blacksmith challenge, and that will probably be form part of the show as well. Where we get in there and do that. And the best thing about going back to it and having that workshop and that type of thing is it may go back to a weekly show as well. We've still got to hammer out all the details and that's simply because I work, but because Alexis is here, because of my work, not because I work, but because of my work, but because Alexis is here, and it's all going to be run out of there and everything, there'd be no need to change anything over. Alexis should be able to run it even if I'm not there, or vice versa. So so we will be back, and we will be back doing, with our wonderful smiling selves. It just won't be at, it's currently 1:41 a.m. on a Monday morning for us here in Australia. So, shifting that to a more reasonable time for us, which will be which will still be first thing in the morning for us, but it'll be, like again, 8 or 9 o'clock, which will be, generally translate to, I mean, what time is it? What time are we with it where you are now? It's probably about what, 12 o'clock-ish there, Yames?
It is just afternoon, yes.
Yeah. So about 12:15, it's 1:42 here. So, it's 13 hours difference. So, if we do it at, say 7 o'clock in the morning, that's 6 p.m. Eastern. So, that's a decent time for most people who have finished with their day and jump on. Yeah, probably, a little bit earlier in Pacific, but that's it's so weird referencing Pacific as West, considering Pacific here is East. but yeah, so it'll be earlier Pacific time, but it's still, even on a Saturday or a Sunday, it's the majority of the day is done. So you don't, we're not worrying about, for example, here, one of the challenges that we've had is we do have a lot of people that are, I wouldn't say devout, but relatively devout. And therefore, they go to church, they go to their various churches and do their various Sunday services. So there's a lot of people that are involved in this community that we don't get into our, into watching the show because they're not here. They've got other commitments that they do, So being able to switch up that time gives those people access to us and our, unique and individual perspectives on lots of different topics. And I was also watching Big Dog earlier tonight. I wasn't able to chat, but I was watching Big Dog earlier, and Big Dog, what is a family friendly channel, and we try to be family friendly, but we're a little bit more adult focused, simply because that's our personalities. And so so again, 6 p.m. in the evening gives you a little, or later in the evening gives it a little bit more expectation of you can sit down with a beer or another adult beverage and have a bit of a
Have your nighttime medicine.
yeah, have your nighttime medicine, and you chill out and some adult time, and then I wouldn't say, I was about to say enjoy some adult entertainment. It's not quite like that, is it?
It ain't gonna be like that.
No, it's definitely not like that. Yeah, no.
not the platform for that.
Yeah,
I'm wondering about this format now. Impractical Blacksmiths
I don't-
OnlyFans.
Yeah, I don't intend on forging Roman style. Thank you very much. But yeah, so, but I mean, yeah, but I mean, also that allows us for, you know, again, I was recently overseas in Bali, and I spent quite a few days with a Balinese knife maker, Balinese smith. So that this change in format also allows us to, take, next time I go overseas, or if Alexis decides to go somewhere, and we meet some smiths, or specifically go there to do smithing, allows us to take that with us, take this with us as well. I mean, whilst I was in overseas, I bought some gadgets and bits and bobs, in order to assist and make our content going forward better. I mean, I'm on the what my phone's on at the moment is actually a camera stand, and it's a little bit shaky at the moment because I'm pulling it off. That actually has a remote, so that I can actually start and stop live streams and take photos and all that type of thing at the push of a button, without having to do the whole,
Yeah.
that we've seen everyone do hundreds of times. So, like, I can actually, and I've got technology like that. I've got, I was showing Yamas before the stream, a set of lavalier mics that actually plug into and are designed for phone
Mobile
usage.
streaming,
So,
yeah.
and they're radio mics that actually work with a plug-in attachment to a phone. So, I went and got these things whilst I was overseas, because A, they were cheaper, but also B, to with the thought of, yep, okay, going forward, making better content, making better live streams, all that type of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Mr. Maker?
We're over an hour and a quarter now.
Yeah. But yeah. What's up? No, I didn't hear you.
Go ahead, Yamas. I said it's get about time for final thought.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was good to go for a little bit longer if you guys wanted to, but it is pushing 2 a.m. for you guys. So what's that? Yeah, final thoughts. I mean, and kind of a bittersweet name for it. Final thoughts, end of the show, or thoughts on the show, but like, final thoughts on the era of us running the Sunday morning streams. Yeah, it's been a blast. It has been fantastic, and I thank every single person that was a part of making it so. I thank all the people that tune in, the regulars, the guests, and especially thank you two, my co-hosts. Because without you, it would just, I don't know where it would have gone. And yeah, thanks for the memories.
I was literally just sitting here thinking, for the last 5 years. So I've been working nights for 8 years, but for the last 5 years, every second Sunday on my changeover, because I've got to stay up all night anyway, I've come on and done this podcast. And looking forward, like, what the fuck am I going to do with my Sunday nights now?
Sleep?
Well, I can't sleep. This is my changeover. I've got to go back to work tomorrow night. So I stay up all night so I can sleep tomorrow day, so I can go to work tomorrow night. And I was just thinking, I've done this for 5 years. This is my routine.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck am I going to do with my Sunday night?
Yeah.
And so I have to find a D&D group, or actually knuckle down and do more work on my books.
Right. Yeah, finish my book. But yeah, no, like it's really just trying to think for like 5 years. Take a moment, every single one of you, and think, what was I doing 5 years ago?
This.
What was I doing? We were, yes, but what were you doing on this day 5 years ago? And I can say with complete honesty, I was in my house on the computer setting up or doing this live stream. This has been a stable part of my life for 5 years. And it's mind blowing to think. And you guys, every single one of you, all you guys in the chat, you Yamas, you Alexis, have been a stable part of my life. And I don't speak to my family as much as I speak to you guys.
Right.
And that's been a stable part of my life for 5 years. It's humbling. It's mind blowing. And again, why I'm very determined to come back. So that's my final thoughts. And it's not goodbye. It's see you soon.
Yeah. So my final thought. This has been a hell of a journey for me. 5 years. As most of you should be well aware.
You changed a lot.
I think a lot in the last 5 years, especially the last 4.
I suppose, yeah.
And honestly, a lot of that had to do with certain members of this community, and also, like the support that I've gotten from the community was hands and above, beyond what I ever thought it was going to get. I'm very deeply appreciative of the friends I've made and the friends I've kept over the last 5 years. It's been a hell of a journey, and I consider myself lucky to know and have met almost all of you. Because that is a luxury that Yamez and I have, going to Quad State or had going to Quad State and getting to put faces to names and this, that, and the other. And I'm going to cherish that for the rest of my life. Just because that's the one thing that I splurged on every year was that trip to Quad State and to go hang out with people and stuff. And then I was honestly like really look forward to like discussing that on the show. I mean, because like we would spend a whole month talking about Quad State, gearing up for Quad State, getting ready for Quad State, who's going to Quad State. Now we're at Quad State in review,
Yeah. Like half the
September
year
every
was
year
Quad
was
State.
Every year, September with Quad State topics. But no, I mean, but to be fair, it's like the people have meant the most to me, and I appreciate everybody's support, and love, and well wishes, and man, y'all just keep on keeping on, and I hope to see you on the other side of this little hiatus. We're going to be coming back at you bigger and better than ever. So see you in a couple months, and
It's that.
peace.
Yeah.
Yamed.
Well, normally I'd say like see y'all next time and all of that stuff, but yeah, I suppose I can still say that. It just will be a longer break between our shows. Yep. Thank all of you and yeah, y'all put it perfectly. I mean, I'm not going to ruin the end of a great show by floundering on with a bunch of dumb words.
It really puts in perspective doing this, when you watch a show end on, TV or network or whatnot, just like, because we're coming back,
Yeah.
but still how they must have.
Yeah. We're going to be coming back a little different for those of you just popping in. or if you make it to this far, we are switching over to Adam's channel, Speargrass Forge, and it will be filmed on location over there rather than from here. So it gives them the controls with OBS and all that stuff, and yeah, it's so like just that right there. I've got my my mouse hovered over the stop streaming button, and it's kind of hitting me right now that like this will be the last time that I run OBS to go live to talk to you guys. And that is a wild thought. I mean, unless the odd time that I take my computer out to the shop and do something. But I'll get out there. What's funny? I had a thought. I probably will get out there, and I probably won't film it, just to reduce the stress of getting it all set up. But we'll see what happens in the future. You never know. This is the last goodbye from the Island Metal Forge channel.
And
y'all have a
thank you all
wonderful
for
time.
joining us on this.
Thank you for 5 years of awesomeness. And yeah, when we come back, the cameras will be upside down, Ben. They have to be, otherwise the image will be flipped. Yeah, so you guys have a wonderful time. Thank you all for the round of applause. Love you all. Good night.